Are there any additions, corrections that need to be made to the agenda at this time? Seeing no objections, the agenda is approved. We are now in line for the approval of minutes from our last meeting of the 33rd Senate. For the next minute, please read over the minutes shared on the screen. Are there any additions or corrections that need to be made to the minutes? Seeing none, I will move to approve the minutes. Seeing no objections, the minutes are approved. We're now in line for open forum, but before we start, I just want to remind everybody to please be sure, especially our senators, that you need to be keeping your camera on for attendance. Just make sure we have all that etiquette that's important, so please pay attention to that. They'll be going to your attendance. We have people watching out, so just to put that on your radar. But we'll now move to hear from students who have come to speak during open forum. Are there any students wishing to speak during open forum? And if you'd like to speak, make sure you use the hand raise function. Seeing none, we're now in line for officer reports. To ensure an efficient meeting, especially here on Zoom, and especially with the new changes, I will be limiting all executive and legislative officer updates to 3 minutes, as we've been doing. So first off, the chair would like to recognize President Asim Ahmed.
What's going on, y'all? So I'll keep it quick. So I have 3 main updates. One on the wellness reps. So our plan is to pilot that into a specific residence hall community by next semester. Don't know which one yet. That's our plan. And we are having that conversation now in the context of the Office of Student Affairs vision for student health and wellness by 2025. They have like a whole committee dedicated to student wellness and health over the next 5 years. So we're having that conversation in the context of that committee. Our representative will be Misha Al-Islam, and essentially it's going to be all the stakeholders of what wellness for students look like at one table. Two, we have been looking to see what partnering the University Health Center with downtown bars looks like and training our bartenders through bystander intervention training. There's definitely a lot of legal implications there. So like, it's going to be tough. We're trying to figure out something that can work. And going off of that, I know y'all have seen at other universities what they'll do in a lot of women's restrooms and in the stalls is like, are you being harassed by someone, or are you have you consumed too much tonight? If so, ask for Ashley at the bar, ask for this person at the bar, and the bartender will know to call for an Uber or something like that. We're exploring what that might look like to create like a safer experience for people who are going downtown. And 3, I know last time we talked about discounts at restaurants and places downtown. We've started communications with the Athens Chamber of Commerce on that. It's a pretty intensive project. So that would be something that if we end up pursuing, it'll end up going into next semester, but we don't know if that's something we're going to pursue quite yet. Also, on-campus voting is happening right now. Well, not now, but like over the next 2 days. Free parking in Carlton Street deck. So if you're registered for here in Athens and you haven't voted, please go vote. It's super quick. And yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you, President Ahmed. The chair recognizes Vice President Quappon.
Hey everybody, my updates are super short. So last time I talked about meetings as far as like diversity, equity, and inclusivity training. Those have been going really well. We've been meeting with the necessary companies who are in charge of that, who currently now do alcohol EDU. They also have a diversity training. We've looked over the modules. We really like what we see. We have another meeting with them this week and then another meeting with BP Wilson. But right now everything is looking really good. So it's looking like that's going to be something that's mandated as early as an optional rollout of it next spring, and then mandatory for all incoming students in the fall. And I know that some people are working on some legislation for that. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice President Quappong. The chair now recognizes Treasurer Carson Cook.
What's up, y'all? So we had small clubs this morning. We heard from one organization. By next Senate, I'll be able to tell you if they got approved from VP Wilson or not. One thing that is pretty much done that we're super excited about, there will be a book drive happening the second week of November. Graphics should be sent out on the SGA social medias and everywhere here in the next week or so. It's going to be every day from November 9th to the 13th. From 11 to 2, and it's gonna be on the first floor of Tate, and it's literally just gonna be where people can drop off LSAT, MCAT, GRE, PMAT. I don't know, all the post grad books. We're super excited about it. The DAE is, I've been meeting with the DAE for months now about this, and they're housing it in their department, and so we're super excited. But the book, we're trying to get like a good number of books before we open up the book closet. But yeah, super excited about that. So be on the lookout for that. If you have any, or if you know anybody who has any books, like it's okay if they're like lightly used, please drop them off at the book drive the second week in November. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Treasurer Cook. With that, we'll move into legislative updates. So first off, thank you all for being here. To all of our guests, thank you all for coming out and showing your support and being here with us. First off, we have a approved socially distanced Senate social at Lake Herrick coming up next Wednesday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Masks will be required. They are mandatory, except of course when you are drinking or eating. So we'll be following all UGA and CDC guidelines per regulations, everything like that. So we will be ensuring that it is safe. We encourage all senators, FYS staff to come and attend. Of course, if you do not feel comfortable, that is totally okay. Just let us know. That is totally fine. I completely understand. Just let us know. Also, we had a survey out to student organizations that have garnered over 600 responses. So super proud about that. Chief of Staff McDaniel will have some more stuff what staff's doing, but we got some stuff going on. And then also just to close, I also encourage everyone with like a week out from elections to get out there and vote. Make sure do your civic duty. You got some time, or if you already mailed in your ballot, if you're already voting, then great job. But make sure you go and practice your civic duty. We're doing here representing the students at the University of Georgia, so it's good that we go out and elect our officials for the United States. So I encourage everyone to go out and do their civic duty. But with that, I'll turn it over to President Pro Tem Sierra Thomas.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a good evening. I just have a couple of quick updates. So I met with Dr. Jan Barham. She's one of our staff advisors for SGA about expanding the current tech lending program that is offered through the MLC and the libraries. And then also ended up meeting with the MLC this week. But something that came up in those conversations is they have some concerns about what it's going to look like after Thanksgiving, whether or not students are going to return to campus, and if they're not, like what they're going to need technologically in order to feel comfortable and be able to meet all of their academic needs while they're home. So I am putting out a survey on that. I'm hopefully going to have it ready by the end of the week, but if you all can push that out to all of your circles when you see it, that would be great. We really need as much information as we can get in a very short amount of time so that they have time to kind of structure a plan for what they're planning to do. So hopefully you will see that in the Slack in the next couple of days and just share it when you do. I also, let's see. So we have one more Senate meeting for the semester. If you have legislation that you want to pass at that meeting, it is due to me by this Friday at 7. So if you have questions about how to write legislation, or if you have any questions like while you're writing it, let me know. But I need all of that by Friday so it can go through committees. Other than that, Jack Henry Decker, the AG, is bringing forward elections codes and timelines as well as the committee tonight. So he's put a lot of work into that. So please be sure to give him your time and attention. Other than that, I would just second everything that has been said earlier about voting. Early voting started in Segment today, so be sure to come out. I will be there tomorrow volunteering from 1 to 3. So come say hi to me, do your civic duty, etc. And yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Senator Thomas. The chair now recognizes Chief of Staff McDaniel, Senate Chief of Staff McDaniel.
Hey everybody, so Sam mentioned the socials next week. Please make sure you RSVP. I'm going to drop that link in just a moment into the chat. Please make sure you do that. It's just whether you're coming or you're not. RSVP does mean whether you are going to come or you're not. It doesn't just mean say yes. So please make sure you do that so we have the appropriate numbers for the food and refreshments that we can get for everybody, and the activities that we'll have and so on and so forth. In addition, they are ordering name tags, and so we want to make sure that we are being as inclusive as possible. And so we're going to request everyone to fill out the survey that I'm going to drop right now to add your pronouns. And so if you can please fill out this survey only for senators as well as first-year senators and staff members, please fill this out. There's a drop down. So if your name is not on the drop down, then this form isn't for you. So please make sure you do this by the end of this Senate meeting. And so that way we can send these over and they can get ordered. So please make sure you do that. If you do not see your school or college on there, please just message me through Zoom, and that would be great. In addition, I'm also going to drop the RSVP for the social. If you can please fill that out as well, that would be greatly appreciated. We're working on a lot of good projects with everyone from first-year senators to working alongside cabinet members. So please remember the staff is here to help you in all ways. There are a few surveys that will be coming down the pipeline from first-year senators, including ours for Ramsey, in addition to a variety of things, whether it be for a fund for Grady. And so there are tons of things being worked on. So please make sure you take the time to complete those surveys, because we're the first step in really collecting those results. And as Sam mentioned, we're going to work on processing and working with the ELS on our student organization survey to better serve those students, and working alongside cabinet members to see how we can better improve and assist those student organizations moving throughout the year. So if you all need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I know we are approaching the end of the semester, so if you have an initiative that you'd like to work on, please let us know. So thank you.
Thank you, Senate Chief of Staff McDaniel. With that, we'll be moving into new business. I also, before we get in, I want to preface how some of the things are going to be going. We'll be limiting questions to 5 minutes. Last meeting, we had a time where questions just went on and on and on, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time here, especially with it being on Zoom. So we will be limiting questions to 5 minutes. If people would like to extend, if Senator would like to extend the time, a senator can simply make a motion to extend the time, but you need to put how much time you'd like to extend it for. If you do not specify the time, then I will just do it for another 5 minutes per the usual time, but please specify a time if possible. If you make a motion to extend the time after the time has elapsed, per Robert's rules, I cannot extend the time after that because the time has completely nullified. So we will not be extending time after the 5 minutes has expired. But that's the only new changes that we have. So first up on our new business is the confirmation of the election committee. Let's put up on the screen now. I'm going to ask for Attorney General Jack Henry Decker to come to the floor and speak on the nomination of the election committee members. Also, just for complete transparency, everyone's name here is on the document. However, Attorney General Decker and I are constitutionally required to be on it, but he has put my name on it for complete transparency. So the chair now recognizes Attorney General Decker.
Hey everyone, can y'all hear me? Thumbs up. All right, perfect. Well, so this is the elections committee. I know that this was shared ahead of time with y'all. Do you want me to just read this or do you want me to just talk about them? I mean,
Yeah, just read out the names, like why you do this, like, you know, kind of your job purview, what senators, because we have lots of new like senators here and like guests that kind of educate them on what Senate does.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't stepping out of order or anything. Okay, so like Sam said, he is automatically on the elections committee. That is in the Constitution, but I have nominated 4 individuals to serve on this committee. This committee oversees the elections. If there are complaints, this committee handles those hearings and potentially hands out any sanctions. I am not a voting member. I am only a voting member if there is a tie. And there's only potentially a tie if someone doesn't show up because we have a quorum of 4. I guess that might be a little too nitty gritty, but anyway, so the 4 that I've nominated are Joshua Patton, Zainab Ali, Landon Clark, and Abby Brunn. Joshua Patton and Abby Brunn are the 2 non-SGA members, as is mandated by the Constitution, and Zainab and Landon are the 2 SGA members. So there's 2 non-SGA and 2 SGA. Everyone on this list has been involved in student government before. Everyone on this list has a at least basic understanding of the elections process. And so there would be not much of a learning curve there. They're familiar with what this process looks like. They're familiar with what this body does. And I think they will all be ready to meaningfully contribute. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't want to overtalk here because I don't necessarily think this is that controversial. So should I stand for questions or how?
Yeah, so now the nominees listed will, except myself, will stand for questions for 5 minutes if senators would like to ask the nominees any questions. And on their behalf, I accept questions. And if you have questions, just do so by using the raise hand feature. Seeing as there are no questions, we'll now debate the nominations. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor or against the nominees? Seeing none, I will close debate. Do I hear a motion to confirm the Elections Committee by slate? Okay. There's been a motion.
Second.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to confirm the nominees by slate. All those in favor of voting by slate, please indicate aye by clicking the green check. Please indicate nay by clicking the red X. So Zoom has also brought us a new wonderful curve. We apparently cannot see the green X's or the red checks. So if you would like to indicate no, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we will assume that by not raising your hand, you are voting aye. So please do that so we can get those votes. Or you can use thumbs up to click yes for aye. And with that, the nominees are approved. Congratulations. Now I invite Attorney General Jack Henry Decker to render the oath of office to the nominees.
All right, y'all. Congratulations. So I'm going to repeat real quick, or I'm going to read off the oath of office, and y'all can just repeat after me. I don't know if they need to put their, do they need to put their mic on? Can they just do it? Okay, let's do it with our mics on. It'll be nice and intimate. All right, so just repeat after me really quick. All right, I, name of nominee,
I, Joshua Jackson Clark,
Volley.
do hereby affirm that I will faithfully support and defend the Constitution
do hereby affirm that I will faithfully support and defend the
Constitution
and all other governing documents
and all other governing documents
of the Student Government Association of the University of Georgia.
of the Student Government
Government Association of the University of Georgia.
And I will endeavor to fulfill my obligations
And I will
I will
endeavor
endeavor
to
to
fulfill my
fulfill my
obligations
obligations
to the students and my duties as Elections Committee
to the students
students and my duties as election committee
to the best of my ability.
to the
to
best
the
of my
best of
ability.
my ability.
Excellent. Cool. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, congratulations. And thank you, AG Decker. Okay. Moving right along in our new business, that brings us to the second order of our business, Bill 3303. The chair will now once again recognize AG Decker.
All righty. So yes, y'all are gonna be hearing a lot from me tonight. This is the bill that is establishing the 2021 elections timeline. I know that this was shared with y'all ahead of schedule, so I'm not going to go too in depth about anything necessarily, but it's all pretty consistent with how things have been in the past. The timeline in general is almost verbatim how it was last year, except for, a few dates are obviously different. But the time between things is all the same. The general time within the semester when things are happening is all the same. So none of that should come as a surprise. The only addition, really, the only real tweak besides just the days changing is the fact that there will be a meeting held before next semester with the elections committee to discuss the state of the COVID outbreak on campus to determine if there are any necessary changes that need to be made. But that is also outlined in the elections code revisions that are part of Bill 3304. The only other thing about this that I will note is that several of the locations for events have an asterisk. Basically because we have to operate under the assumption that we're going to have to be flexible because of the situation on the ground regarding COVID. But besides that, nothing has really changed about the timeline. And of course, I would be happy to stand for questions.
Okay. Thank you, AG Decker. AG Decker will now stand for questions. And like I said, that will be for 5 minutes. Are there any senators wishing to ask AG Decker a question? Just raise your hand or use the chat to indicate if you would like to. Seeing no questions, I will close questions. Thank you, AG Decker. We'll now move into debate on Bill 3303. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor or against the bill? Okay. Seeing none, I will close debate and we'll move into voting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay, there's been a motion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to call the question. All those in favor, please indicate aye by doing a thumbs up, or nothing at all. We will just assume it's a yes. If you vote nay, please write it into the chat. Only the host can see it. With that, the motion passes. So the matter before us is the passage of Bill 3303. All those in favor of passing Bill 3303, please do nothing at all. We will assume it's a yes. All opposed, please enter into the chat. Only the hosts can see it. Okay. And with that, Bill 3303 passes. Congratulations, AG Decker. We now have our timeline. Okay. Moving on to the next order of new business is Bill 3304. The chair would like to recognize AG Decker.
All righty, y'all. So we got one more. This is a bill to modify the elections code. I know that this was shared with everyone, but I'm going to just do a quick overview. There are very few edits this year. My predecessor was very thorough, which I appreciate. And there were not too many holes that needed to be filled, nothing that I thought was too pressing, except for just a few things. So I did include that we reserve the right to request alterations to statement of intent forms if it conflicts with UJ copyright policy or is determined to be purposefully inflammatory. That's just a little bit of guarding ourselves against making sure we can protect the legitimacy of the election cycle. I made a slight edit to the way endorsements are garnered. I gave a little bit more of a voice to members of student organizations as opposed to just the primary contact / president of those orgs. That to me feels like a little bit more of a democratic way for endorsements to be garnered. I also defined the term unregistered staff members. That is a term that is used several times throughout the code, but was never formally defined. So we took care of that. That to me does not seem too controversial. I'm scrolling just because I want to be thorough. We included a little bit about our ability to rule on the SGA Code of Ethics, which was already codified in this code, but this just bolsters that so that there's no discrepancies if an ethical violation takes place. And finally, let me see. Our final thing is, this was already talked about during the timeline, but we are going to have a short meeting that is going to be open to the public before second semester begins, in which the committee is going to vote on any necessary changes that we deem essential to protect everyone involved during the elections process. That's going to be open to the public so everyone can voice their opinions on that, and then the elections committee will make a decision about whether or not we need to make any changes to the code to make sure that in the middle of a global pandemic, we are doing things as safely and equitably as we possibly could. So that is a brief overview. I don't necessarily want to go too in depth right now because I would much rather just answer any questions that y'all have directly. But that being said, please, please, please ask any questions at all that y'all have. I've worked on this for several months, and I have been able to talk to multiple committees about it, including first-year senators. And I'm feeling pretty happy about where things are. And so I want to make sure we can get this through tonight. So please, please ask any questions that y'all have. And with that, I would happily stand for questions.
Thank you, AG Decker. With that, AG Decker will now stand for questions. Do any senators have questions for AG Decker regarding this bill? The chair recognizes Senator Bryson Henriott.
Thank you, Jack Henry. I know that we had discussed that you may have like an example template of the statement form that goes more in depth, since the bill kind of vaguely touches on things, which is how like we wanted it to be set up. So I was just wondering if you had that example of statement form.
Yes. So what Bryson is referring to is the endorsement form. The way I changed it, in order to not clog up the code, I included some of the changes to the endorsement process in the endorsement form as opposed to the code, because I felt like it was more relevant in the endorsement form. And that is something that the elections committee has purview over, but I'm pulling that up because I want to fulfill my promise that I gave Bryson, which is that I would come tonight with a little bit more clarification about what that process would look like. And so I'm just going to read it out. I can't share my screen, but I'm just going to hit on the points that we talked about. And they're sitting in front of me on the endorsement form that would be approved by the elections committee as soon as we are done here, because the elections committee would be formally confirmed. But basically the only changes really are that if an organization wants to endorse a ticket or a candidate running for a seat, they have to at least offer an opportunity to every ticket or, oh, I am being told that I can send it.
Yeah,
So
should
that
be
we
able
can
to
share
share
it.
it now, AG Decker, or I can have Senate Chief of Staff McDaniel do it.
Sure, I'll send it to Matthew. Matthew, you want to DM me your email and I can share it with you, just because I'm job hunting on the same Chrome browser as this is open. I want everyone to see that I'm trying to get a job. All right, one sec. I appreciate that. Give me one moment. All right, so I have just now shared it with Matthew and he should be able to pull it up. It is a very short, the thing that is relevant is the last page of this document, because it basically just gives the outline for how polling of a organization should work, because I wanted that to be standard across the board so that there were no discrepancies there, because since we are affording organizations the ability to poll their members, I don't want there to be any discrepancies or disagreements about how that process should look. So I formalized that on the endorsement form, and I can show that to you now. The last page of this doc is where you're going to see oh, okay, it's loading, it looks like.
Okay. It looks like it may not be able to load our volume.
Tell you what, let me just close down my other tabs and I can just share it, because I don't want to hold y'all up for any more time than we need to be here. If anyone's wondering, I am trying to find a teaching job in the state of Georgia. So that was what I was so suspiciously hiding, but give me just one second. I apologize everyone for the delay, but this is definitely important and worth talking about. So let me pull that up and we should be good to go. Alrighty, Google Chrome. All right, can y'all see this now? Okay, so I can't really see y'all, but I'm going to assume that we're all looking at this with me. You're scrolling with me now. Can anyone thumbs up real quick?
We can see it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I apologize for how not good at this I am. But so basically, here is the first page. It looks pretty similarly. The only change that I've made here is that there is a box to check to confirm that you have polled your members. The details of how that polling needs to look are later in this document. We also ask that you outline the results of that poll. You don't have to say who voted for who. All you have to do is tell us what the numbers were. That way, if there is any discrepancy, we are able to check that with you. We also offer you the opportunity to explain why that ticket or candidate has earned your organization's endorsement. That way, since these are public documents, we just want organizations to be able to put a little bit of words behind that because we don't want them to have to be doing, it's worthwhile for the public to be able to see why an organization has endorsed, just so that the endorsement, as with all of this, holds more weight. This is all very similar. Nothing has changed here. Here are the regulations for polling membership. It looks like a lot, but it's all very much specific to this form, which is why it is here as opposed to in the code. I'm going to run through it really quickly, but y'all can read along with me. But this first one basically says that any position or executive ticket that is being considered a position they are considering endorsing for, every ticket or candidate needs to be offered the same opportunity to share information about themselves with that organization. That way, there isn't polling happening after one ticket or candidate comes and speaks and nobody else got the chance. This was a question that I received from multiple committees, and I'm happy to put that to bed with this, is that the mode of communication through which the poll must be administered is whatever mode of communication is used for formal organization communication, which can include but isn't limited to email, GroupMe, and Slack. So basically, this means that we don't have to worry about who's paying dues. We don't have to worry about who isn't the club. This just means that if you are privy to formal channels of communication, then you've qualified to be considered a member of that organization. That way we don't have to worry about whether or not someone's a dues paying member, because I know not every club requires dues in order for you to be considered an active member. I have listed how the poll needs to be phrased. That way there's no discrepancies about that. There's not going to be any leading questions. There's not going to be any sort of drama surrounding that. And I have identified that the poll needs to list every potential candidate / ticket. That way there isn't any biased polls happening as well. I have also included that organizations are welcome to offer multiple polls. This is basically so that if they don't hit the majority of the vote that is necessary to offer an endorsement, they can, after the 48-hour period, which is detailed directly under it, they can offer up another poll. However, that second poll would have to still have every ticket / candidate for that position listed. So if there is, let's say there are 3 tickets or 3 candidates for a Senate seat, and there is a even third split, they aren't going to be allowed to just straight up say, okay, well, now we're just going to do the top 2 vote getters, third place, you have to redistribute. This way, nobody is getting silenced. And if there legitimately isn't a majority within the organization, then, and I think this is fair, the organization isn't going to be able to endorse because that endorsement would not be representative of their organization. And then, yes, the last thing is that it's 48 hours to leave it open. That way, everyone within the organization who is privy to those channels of communication would reasonably be able to participate in the poll. So that is part of the endorsement form, because I figured that would be a more relevant place to keep it for tickets, particularly because the amendment that I've added to, or edit to the elections code that I've added includes that part of the rule is just you can't falsify the endorsement form. And so part of what that means is that they can't falsify the fact that they are signing, assuring that they followed these rules, right? And so I want to make sure y'all see these rules because they're important, but I also want y'all to understand that all of this is already codified within this amendment, and none of this is controversial, in my opinion. These are things that I've discussed with multiple committees so far, and I think is generally agreed will make it a fairer and a more equitable endorsement process, and making sure that every member of an organization is having their voice heard, as opposed to endorsements being what oftentimes in the past has been a more casual process. So with that being said, that is all of the info on that. I also realize I talked for a long time, and if we're about to run out of time, I would love if someone could extend because I'm sure there might be some other questions. But that is my answer to that, and I will give it back to anyone else who wants to ask a question.
Yep, thank you, AG Decker. We are low on time, so if there's anyone else wishing to ask a question, the motion needs to be made now. Okay. Seeing none, I will end question period. Thank you, AG Decker. We will now move into formal debate on Bill 3304. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor or against? Okay. The chair recognizes Senator Bryson Henriott.
Yeah, I would just say thank you, AG Decker, for really taking the time to meet with all the committees and work through all these complicated things that can happen in elections. So this definitely has my support.
Thank you, Senator Henriott. The chair recognizes Senator Thomas.
I would like to propose a friendly amendment. It's been suggested by AG Decker. I'm not sure exactly what page it's on. Jack Henry, if you want to comment that to Matthew, that would be great. But at some point it says UGA Code of Ethics, and we need to change that to SGA Code of Ethics.
I'll second that motion.
AG Decker, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes, and that is, I don't know specifically what page, but that is in the, I realize I just told Matthew, I think that it's under the endorsement thing, but I was wrong. That is under the statement of intent, or no, that is under the thing about the code of ethics in general campaign regulations. And it just, yeah, it says UGA Code of Ethics. If you just wanted to like Control F, that's the only time it says that, because that isn't a thing. It's the SGA Code of Ethics. Yeah, perfect. And that is now correct. That is just, yeah, that's a technical thing. I appreciate Senator Thomas for helping me out there.
Thank you, Senator Thomas. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor or against? And Jack Henry, you formally accepted that, correct? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. Anyone else? The chair recognizes Senator Laura Ramirez.
I also wanted to speak in favor of it, especially the polling of the organizations. I think that's something really important at the College of Pharmacy. So for that, it was really great. So I also speak in favor of it.
Thank you, Senator Ramirez. The chair now recognizes Senator Kendall Henry.
I also would like to speak in favor of it. Jack Henry definitely did his research in making sure that each committee was heard, and also really finding out what could aid the election and making sure that things that have happened in the past don't occur again. And especially like Senator Ramirez just said about the different organizations, I think that will definitely help alleviate some stress that's happened in the past elections. So great job.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Henry. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Okay. Last call. Okay. Seeing none, I will formally end debate. Thank you, AG Decker. Do I hear a motion to call the question?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion, a second to call the question. All those in favor, please just do nothing. We will assume that you were an aye. All opposed, please message into the chat. Only the host can see it. And with that, we will now call the question. The motion has been approved. So all those in favor of passing the elections code, Bill 3304, please do nothing. All opposed, please indicate so by messaging to the chat. And with that, Bill 3304 passed unanimously. We now have our elections code. So congratulations, AG Decker and the election committee. With that, that brings us to our next order of new business, but I will be yielding the chair to Senate President Pro Tempore Sierra Thomas.
Thank you, Senate President Bryant. So we will now move into the next order of new business, which is Amendment 3301. It's an amendment that has been proposed to update the Constitution. It was proposed by Senate President Bryant. And at this time, so amendments are a little bit different from our other types of legislation. Amendments require a reading first, and that is essentially what we'll do now. I know this has been sent to all of you on the agenda, but we will also scroll through it now for you all to see. We will not do questions, debate, or voting at this time. That will occur at the next meeting. Secretary Macy Myers, if you just want to scroll all the way through. Okay, and with that, I guess we will move on to the next order of new business. I relinquish the chair to Senate President Bryant.
Hold on one second, people. We're dealing with some procedure stuff.
And for the record, in the past, the way reading has worked is that, like, on the Senate floor, the author themselves read it, but with modified Zoom procedures, we're just scrolling through document.
Thank you, Senator Thomas. Thank you for taking over the reins there for a minute. I'll reclaim the chair. But like Senator Thomas said, with the revised system that we have, the reading will be counted as it being sent out in the agenda for all of you to review, and it being displayed here for all of you to see the changes and everything on the Zoom call. So thank you. But before we move on, does anyone have any objections to that, just for complete transparency, because I wanted to be as crystal clear and clean as possible? Are there any objections to that being as a reading from any senators? And there's no debate allowed to be facilitated per the Constitution. Seeing no objections, that will be considered our reading, and will be reflected in the minutes, Secretary Myers. So moving right along, that ends our new business, and that brings us to the good of the order. Unlike open forum, this is a time for senators to make final comments related to Senate or not prior to our adjournment. Are there any senators wishing to speak on good of the order? Okay. The chair recognizes Senator Ramirez.
Yes, so I just wanted to thank everyone that came out to Farmtoberfest last Thursday and got their flu shots. It was a really good turnout and something very new at the College of Pharmacy, seeing it was our first hybrid one. Soon we will also be offering mobile clinics. We are currently developing that, so where you'll be able to do point of care tests or anything like that around the university, and that will also be our pharmacy students. And I also want to remind anyone that hasn't gotten their flu shot, the University Health Center is still offering them without an appointment as well. So make sure you get that for the season. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Ramirez. The chair now recognizes Senator Thomas.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself again. I just wanted to reiterate, the questions just got approved for the survey, so that will hopefully be out sometime in the next couple of days. And just please, when you see that, push it through your circles. We really need as much feedback on this as we can get in order for things to kind of go smoothly with everything being adapted after Thanksgiving break. Other than that, go vote and come see me at Stegman tomorrow. And yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Senator Thomas. The chair now recognizes Senator Fine.
Hey y'all, I put a message in the Senate group me like at the end of last week about like a grade database that a student is interested in creating for like you saw the message, I can't explain it well. I'm gonna send a link to a group me in the Senate group me tonight. So if you texted me that you were interested or you've since become interested in working on that, please join the group so we can get started. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fine. And be sure to also put it in the Slack. The chair now recognizes Senator Will Harris.
Thank you, Sam. Y'all already know I had to do it to him. Dog camp applications have been extended till this Friday. So if you or anyone you know is interested, please do my pals in LT21 a favor and refer some wonderful individuals to this program. It's a great program. I could tell you all about it, but I'm not going to right now. But yeah, so also hit me up if you ever want to ask any questions about it or anything like that. So yeah, refer people, get those apps in, yada, yada, yada. Thank you for the link, Matthew. There it is. Tap that guy.
Thank you, Senator Will Harris, our resident dog camp plug right here. Okay. The chair now recognizes Senator Lindsay Smith.
Hey guys, so my marketing group, we've done our term project on analyzing student participation with SGA. So we're trying to figure out why our voting ratios aren't as high as some other institutions and just what students want to see from SGA. I just finished up the Qualtrics survey for that today. And whenever I get the go ahead from my professor, I will be sending that out. It's not the link I sent last night. The link I sent y'all last night's extra credit. If you still want to do that, I'd appreciate it. But be looking out for that link if y'all would like to promote it so that we can figure out, you know, what students want to see.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Smith. Also, just to reiterate, please remember that we have the social. Of course, please do what you're comfortable with. And please be sure to RSVP. Also, Matthew just sent out into the chat, but please fill out that survey. We are currently getting name tags for all of our senators here and FYS, so you can wear them around. Of course, if we were in a meeting, you'd be wearing them now, like in person, so we could all identify one another. But we're still going to make sure that y'all get those. But we need y'all to put down your preferred pronouns so we can promote inclusivity. So please be sure to get that in so we can get that to the proper avenues and get those made up for everybody, please. So please be sure to fill out that. Make sure you RSVP. And if you have any other questions, if you need anything at all, please let me know. Also, be on the lookout. I've had some senators reach out. We'll be doing like a Senate open hour next week. So please be on the lookout for that date and time. Any senators, FYS, are welcome to come, or even anybody at all, to come and ask any questions that you may have about our process, legislation, anything like that. So please be on the lookout for that. Is there anyone else wishing to speak and go to the order? Seeing none, I will now formally close good of the order. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. There's been a motion, a second to adjourn. Seeing no objections, this Senate of the 33rd Administration of the Student Government Association is hereby adjourned. Thank you all.